Hey, what's up? This is Chris. It's nice to see you guys again here. If you are a beginner in photography, you probably encountered the problem, which software should I start with, Photoshop or Lightroom? And in this video, I will tell you the differences between Photoshop and Lightroom and which one should you start with. And I'll also tell you why 90% of the time I stick to Lightroom. In the meantime, if you're interested in photography or vlogs, just hit the subscribe button. It will be great to have more awesome people like you in this community. So, which software should you start with? The short answer is, if you are processing a batch of photos, just go for the Lightroom. Otherwise, if you need to adjust your pictures at a more granular level, you can go for Photoshop. Although both Photoshop and Lightroom can edit pictures, they are actually different in many aspects. In Lightroom, you can edit a batch of photos easily and quickly. There is a function called Synchronize in Lightroom. You can synchronize the settings and adjustments from the first photo to the rest of the photos. It saves a lot of time if all of your photos look similar, such as if you are taking pictures in a studio, the lighting setup are actually identical. That's why you can apply all the same adjustment to all the photos. And by utilizing the synchronize function, you can do it a lot more quickly. Also, you can purchase and download a lot of presets for Lightroom. You can edit your pictures by applying those presets, which are typically filters and adjustments. You can basically edit all your photos with one click. And the user interface of Lightroom is actually designed to help you edit pictures quickly. The user interface is intuitive. You can find the tools you need easily. And Lightroom focuses on exposure and color adjustments such as brightness, contrast, white balance, and hue, saturation, and luminance adjustments. You can basically manipulate the color in the way you want. And you can also do basic skin retouch in Lightroom too. But if you are taking a more advanced approach in skin retouch, such as frequency separation, you need to do it in Photoshop. And you can also manage a tons of photos like a library with Lightroom. Lightroom manages photos with catalogs. You can assign ratings, color labels, and even keywords to your photos. In that way, you can search and sort your pictures according to keywords, ratings, and color label that you assign to those photos. You can manage your photos more easily in Lightroom. The biggest difference between Photoshop and Lightroom is that you have layers in Photoshop. You can stack adjustments and effects based on layers. And you can also decide how the layers blend by controlling the opacity mask and the blending mode. Layers come in handy if you have to blend a lot of effects and adjustment, or you need to apply the adjustment to a certain area of the picture. And you can also do more drastic change and editings to your pictures with layers, such as replacing sky and skin retouch at a more granular level. Unlike Lightroom, you can only focus on editing a few photos in Photoshop. Because in Photoshop there is no library or catalog, you can only manage the pictures with the File Explorer in Mac or PC. But as we mentioned earlier, in Photoshop you have more controls over your pictures. You can manipulate the pictures at the pixel level. That's why I would say basically you can do anything you want in Photoshop. The limit is the sky. And in fact, we have the same raw editing capabilities in Photoshop. There is a camera raw editor in Photoshop, and the functions of it is the same as Lightroom. You can edit the raw file first and then open them up in Photoshop for further editing. It could be useful if you need to edit your pictures after basic exposure adjustments. But the camera raw editors is not good for editing tons of photos together. That's why it's only good for editing a few images. After all, Photoshop is not designed for editing a batch of photos. So you may ask, when should I use Photoshop or Lightroom? I would say you should use Photoshop whenever you found that Lightroom can handle certain tasks. For example, if you need to edit your pictures with layers, obviously you should use Photoshop because we don't have that functionality in Lightroom. you can actually use them simultaneously. In Lightroom, you can right-click on your picture and you can choose to edit it in Photoshop. But after all, because I usually only do color and exposure adjustments to my photos, that's why 90% of the time I stick to Lightroom. And whenever I need to add text or need to edit the picture at a more granular level, I will switch to Photoshop. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'll put the links down below in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.